like this with lights coming on you is you can't see anybody. So apologies if I'm not able to make direct contact. This is better. It seems to be something that we are, talking about all the time today. We had beyond, then we had possibilities, and now we've got driving the next. For next is something that we believe in very well at Broadridge. So people who have been following the company would understand the fact that we are always talking about ready for next, next never waits. This financial year, which starts in July, we started talking about driving the next for the next 6 years. So the theme for the next 6 years is really driving the next and understanding what are the possibilities of the next that we would have. As part of our strategy for the next 3 years, we thought about what we should be doing. Gen AI, as Samir talked about earlier, has disrupted the entire world, literally. So embedding AI into everything that we do, and we're not talking about Gen AI specifically here, we're talking about AI. Embedding AI into every single product, every single platform, every single component that we offer to our customers is really something that becomes very, very critical and becomes a part of our DNA. It's something that's being spoken about right from the top. So Tim Goki, who's our CEO, runs a virtual team for AI and Gen AI, and that's something that we are doing very, very closely and monitoring very, very closely. Some principles that we have adopted. One is the fact that it has to be something that is close to the customer. It has to have a business need. It has to be something that is a real problem to solve. It has to fit into the regulatory and compliance fabric that exists in our industry, right? We come from a regulatory environment which talks about investor communications, governance. It talks about capital markets, management. Yeah, I don't think so. Better? Okay. It talks about what are the various use cases, therefore, that you can do. We have humongous amount of data that flows through our system on a daily basis. About $10 trillion worth of transactions actually flow through a Broadridge platform. Now, that kind of data, what do you want to do, is something that's very important. So it's important for us to really build strategies around that. Important to take care of the data, important to ensure that the data is protected, not just from a security perspective, but also from the perspective of privacy, right? When you have that kind of data flowing through your system, what do you work with, what you should not be working with, what your customers allow you to work with is really critical for you to figure out and understand from that perspective. So really protecting the data and ensuring that you are safeguarding the data is important. Building transparency, building explainability, and having the ability to be able to tell your customers that this is the model, and this is what we are doing with the data, this is how we are creating the model, this is how the data comes out to you, is critical. So the transparency that we are building into the system, the compliance that we are doing is critical. Ensuring that you have speed, okay, you are agile, and you are able to get to the marketplace as easily and quickly as possible is also critical. And the last bit is that once you have all of that, you really solve customer issues that you have been seeing over years that possibly plain automation and AI have not been able to solve. So I'm going to talk about 3 products and 2 ideas that we are building on. And this one is not something that's built out of India, so I wanted to be about it. We have about 4,000, 5,000 mutual funds in the country, right? And even if we want to figure out what is right in those mutual funds is not easy, right? We just go by what our wealth manager is telling us as advice. Maybe some of us have the capability of going down and understanding the industry space a little bit more and therefore analyzing that data. But you multiply that by 10, and you have 50,000 or plus bonds that are available in the US market, and you want to figure out which is the right one you want to talk to, you want to invest in. How do you do that? Bond GPT gives you that ability. It totally curates out, using the OpenAI fundamentals, what is it that you may want to invest in. It collates data, gives you back what you have asked for it. It does not make a recommendation. So it's not a recommendation engine, it's a pure, simple aggregator of data which is available. The next one is Ops GPT, and this is something that I'm exceptionally proud of because this idea was conceptualized by our BRBPO, the GTO BPO organization sitting in India. The Indian equity market is already at a T+1 settlement stage, right? So if you buy today, the equity comes to you tomorrow. But in the US, if I buy, the equity comes into my account 2 days later. That is moving to 1 day this year. And to ensure that you do your settlement properly, do you ensure that clearing is fine, that you're compliant with regulations, suddenly a lot of things that were manual in nature now need to be done by technology. Ops GPT gives us the ability to actually figure out if we are doing the right thing. So it predicts fails, it actually goes and helps you with what fails are happening in the market, where are your breaks in the market, and allows you to be doing the right thing quickly. This is something that is in development cycle right now, available to customers. Phase 1 is available to customers. Phase 2 is being launched in March, and we already have a year-long roadmap for this, all being developed out of India. The third one that we have done is the intranet version of ChatGPT. Being a fintech organization, I absolutely cannot have the liberty to be leveraging ChatGPT by itself. I cannot have my data under any circumstances move out. So the team in India, and a small team, right, about 6 people, sat down over 4 months and created the intranet version of BroadGPT. We have already got 2 phases live. We have the capability now of integrating our own LLMs with the OpenAI protocols and leveraging both the capabilities of what the internet version of ChatGPT has plus our own version here. So very, very powerful. What I want to leave you with is the last thing that we are doing, and these are ideas which are curated ground up. Right? So people on the ground are saying, this is something that I can leverage this technology for. In the testing piece, how can you improve your own developer productivity? Right? So how can you actually start to think about performance management? How can you start thinking about test management and curate automation tests using this technology? This is what I had for you today. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.